Hello y'all, this is Prime Zero, and today I'm doing another Transformers review about Nemesis Prime. Now Nemesis Prime is like he's the evil counterpart. He's Optimus Prime, but he's like the evil version. He's like a Decepticon, and he looks sort of similar to his original counterpart, his good counterpart. Instead of he's all black. And he has red eyes, and he's pure evil, and he's a Decepticon. And he's just as powerful and just as dangerous as his good counterpart. I have to say he's probably even more dangerous and more vicious. And he's pure evil, you know what I mean? And he's very powerful. And he made his first appearance in the Transformers Generation 1 comic book. You know, he appeared in the comic book. He also appeared in many other generations of Transformers. He made an appearance at some point in Transformers Prime, you know what I mean? And I think it was when, I think it was these mercenaries, it was this guy that captured Lockdown, the Decepticon Lockdown, and he experimented on him. And Lockdown met his end because he ended up using Lockdown's body to create his own Transformer, which was Nemesis Prime. And this is when they introduced Nemesis Prime and Transformers Prime, you know, because you had regular Prime versus Nemesis Prime. But he made other appearances. He made an appearance in Transformers Robots in the Sky. It's not the new cartoon, but like it was like an older cartoon that came on Fox that had like a Nemesis Prime. He was a Decepticon, you know, and he was very ruthless and vicious, you know. And that's one thing I could say about Nemesis Prime, you know, he's the complete opposite of his good counterpart. He's a Decepticon, he's vicious, and he's ruthless, and he's evil, and he's powerful, and he's very dangerous, you know what I mean? And they have many toys in Nemesis Prime, you know, even G1 toys, like him. He's like all black color. He even has like the Matrix of Leadership, which is it glows red instead of blue. It's like you know, he has the Matrix of Leadership in him. And but in his Transformers Prime, you know, he has like his eyes isn't red, they like a yellow color, you know, they like but he has different versions. There's different versions of Nemesis Prime. Nemesis Prime also made his appearance in the Transformers The Last Night, the movie, you know. And in this movie, Optimus Prime was floating into space. You know, in the very beginning of Transformers Last Night, he was floating into space. And he you know, as he was floating into space, he crash landed on Cybertron, you know. And this is when he meets Quintessa for the first time. He crash lands, and he somehow you know, he was like in a sleep tired, you know. I think he ran out of energon. He was like in some type of a unconscious state, but he awoke and he found out he crash landed on Cybertron, and he was saying, what has happened to my home? You know, he looks and he's in complete shock. And that's when he encounters Quintessa. He's walking up to her, and he was saying, you are my creator. He was saying, who are you? And then Quintessa was saying, I'm Quintessa, the prime of life, you know. And she says, I'm your creator. And Optimus Prime was saying, you are my creator. And as Optimus you know what I mean, was about to attack her, because he had a feeling that she had something to do with Cybertron, you know, being out of, you know, the way it was looking. And as soon as he was about to attack her, he was like, I'm going to kill you. And then, out of nowhere, she, you know, she caught him into a trap. It was, Infernicus. She shocked him. She used her powers to stun him. And she also trapped him, like she had him chained up. And also, Infernicus came up behind him and grabbed him, you know what I mean? And, and she was saying, you, doom Cybertron. And Optimus was saying, no, Megatron, he started the war. He's responsible for Cybertron, the destruction of Cybertron. He was saying Megatron started the war. That's what he said to Quintessa. And Quintessa hit him, and that's when you start seeing Optimus' face change. You start seeing like the red splash on his face, and that's when she start controlling him. She start manipulating him. She start using her powers to that's when she start using her powers to starting to turn him. Now, he wasn't fully turned at this part, but this is when he was starting to turn, and she was torturing him in Transformers The Last Night, and she was telling him more about Earth, what Earth is really is, and she was saying that Earth has another name, and she says Unicron, and Optimus was saying Unicron, Cybertron's ancient enemy, So I love how they put that in the movie Transformers The Last Night, because Unicron was rising in Transformers The Last Night, and Cybertron was getting closer to Earth. So I really love that concept, and I also like the concept that Earth is Unicron. I did like that concept, but that's when Quintessa tells that, talks about Unicron, and she tells Prime before he was fully turned, because he was still resistant, he was fighting, but he was being tortured, and she was saying that Earth is Unicron, and Optimus Prime was shocked, and this movie, Quintessa is responsible for Optimus Prime becoming Nemesis Prime, That's when she turns him to the dark side. She turns him evil. And during the events of The Last Night, this is when Bumblebee encountered Nemesis Prime. This is when Kay Yeager encountered him too, when they was in the Knights Temenos. They was in the ship looking for the staff. And they was underwater, and then they came across the TRF, the Special Forces, and they also came across the Knights, which they thought they wasn't alive, but they was in slumber. They was in, and they awoke, and they because they was guarding Merlin's, they was guarding his staff. They was protecting the staff for all these years, and they attacked TRF, and they also attacked Kay Yeager. You know what I mean? So it was the Cybertronian Knights that awoke during this time, and this is when Nemesis Prime showed up, and this is when Kay Yeager realized that, Optimus is not himself. This isn't the Prime that he remembered. And Bumblebee was in complete shock too. So this is when Kay Yeager, this is when Nemesis Prime took the staff, and he was telling he was telling the girl who was related to Merlin. I forgot her name. I think it was Vivian. I forgot her name. But yeah, and he was telling her that I'm going to kill you if you don't give me the staff. Like he was telling her that give me the staff human or I will kill you. And she ended up, and Kay was saying give her the staff. You know what I mean? And because she was the descendant, and she was the only one that, because it was in her blood, she was related to Merlin, she was the great descendant of Merlin, and she gave him the staff, you know what I mean, and that was his mission, to get the staff, because that was originally Quintessa's staff, that was hers, and it was stolen by her Guardian Knights, because her Guardian Knights, they was working with Quintessa originally, but then they found out she was abusing her power. She became evil, and they end up staying on Earth, and that's when they became good, and she was telling Nemesis Prime about her guardian knights, you know what I mean, and how they betrayed her, you know, and they took her staff, you know what I mean, which Merlin was using it, you know, but you know, and that's when Bumblebee had his first encounter with Nemesis Prime, which to me I felt like the fight was epic. I really loved the fight between Bumblebee and Nemesis Prime. And I could just remember being in the movie theaters and my heart pounding and just seeing them fight. It was just crazy, you know, because Optimus Prime and Bumblebee usually be on the same side, but it was just crazy seeing them fight for the first time. And, you know, and I just remember my favorite Nemesis Prime moment is saying that, you know, he was saying that I am Nemesis Prime, and he breaks Bumblebee up and he says, "You are nothing." And Bumblebee was using his hammer, one of his new weapons, and Optimus was using his sword, you know. And Optimus was really, you know, he was no joke. Nemesis Prime was no joke, you know. And he ripped off Bumblebee's battle mask, and he was about to kill Bumblebee. But then during the battle, you know, the ending of the battle, that's when Bumblebee ended up speaking for his first time. He ended up getting his voice back, and he was saying that it's Bumblebee, your friend Optimus, you know, you the only one that I ever look up to, you know. And that's when he spoke for the first time, you know what I mean. That's when you know, and to me that was just an epic part, you know, Bumblebee getting his voice back. And then when he ended up hearing Bumblebee's voice, that's what made him break out of Quintessa's you know, her spell that she cast over him. You know, he ended up slowly remembering who he truly was, and, you know, who his friends was. It was Bumblebee, you know, he remembered, you know, and he was saying that, "Bumblebee, I haven't heard your voice since the final days of Cybertron, since Cybertron fell, you know, since the final days," you know what I mean? So that was really cool, you know, not just Bumblebee getting his voice back, but Optimus turning back to normal, you know. And to me that was just an amazing part, you know. And I like Transformers The Last Knight, but there's different versions of Nemesis Prime. He made an appearance in Transformers Prime. He also made an appearance in the G1 comic book. You know, they even have like mini toys in Nemesis Prime. You know, like Masterpiece toys. They even have like a statue of Nemesis Prime, you know. And in the live action movie, Nemesis Prime has like red like splash on his face, and in this movie, Transformers The Last Knight, Nemesis Prime eyes is purple, you know what I mean? And his G1 counterpart, he has red eyes. So it's different versions of Nemesis Prime, but I really like the Nemesis Prime character. You know, he's pure evil, he's vicious, and he's very, you know, he's evil, he's a Decepticon, he's ruthless, you know, he's different from his good counterpart, you know, and he's very powerful, and he's very strong, you know, and he's somebody you gotta watch out for, because, you know, he wouldn't care taking the life of a human, you know, he's different, you know, so. But I love all the different versions of Nemesis Prime. I love the G1 comic Nemesis Prime, you know, I love the action figures. I like the Last Knight version of him, you know, I like the Transformers Prime, Nemesis Prime. I like the Robots in the Skies, you know, he made an appearance in Robots in the Skies. I like that Nemesis Prime, but it's different versions, you know. And I want to know from my subscribers, what's your favorite versions of Nemesis Prime? Is it Transformers Prime, Nemesis Prime, or is it the G1 version of Nemesis Prime? Is it the, you know, is it the comic book version? Is it the Transformers The Last Knight version of Nemesis Prime? I have to say, in my opinion, I liked all the versions of Nemesis Prime, including his Last Knight, you know, the Last Knight version. And I think the only difference is Optimus Prime becomes Nemesis Prime, and I like that concept. He just becomes evil because of Quintessa, how powerful Quintessa is. You know, she really,